Hello there, and welcome to this quiet corner of the sleepy science channel. Tonight, we are not hurrying anywhere. We are simply drifting together into the soft, dark ocean of space. As you settle in, you might like to dim the lights, find a comfortable position, and let your breathing slow. This is a calm place, a late-night harbor where we take gentle journeys through the universe, not to fill your mind with urgent information, but to ease it to smooth the day's edges and to keep you companion as you wander towards sleep. Here, we move at the pace of distant galaxies turning. We tell slow stories about planets, stars, and the deep spaces between them, where gravity guides everything in silent, invisible curves. In that sense, this channel is less a classroom and more a quiet observatory, where we can stand together at the window of the cosmos and simply watch. Tonight's journey is a long, unhurried sequence of 100 soft facts about space, and especially about wandering worlds that travel without a sun. Some may be lonely rogue planets, crossing the galaxy in almost perfect darkness. Others may be tiny, frozen worlds drifting between the stars, lit only by the faint glow of faraway galaxies, like distant cities on a horizon you will never reach. Space itself, out there, is like a vast, silent ocean. There is no air to carry sound, so planets and stars move in complete quiet, their paths shaped only by gravity and time. Some may circle close to bright suns. Another may spend hundreds of millions of years crossing the dark between spiral arms of our galaxy. A few may still glow softly with leftover warmth, like embers hidden deep in the night. As you listen, you do not need to follow every detail. For now, all you need to do is let your shoulders soften and allow your mind to settle into stillness, as if you were floating beside one of these mysterious worlds, feeling no push, no pull, just a slow, gentle drift through the dark. The facts will come like small waves, one after another, steady and calm. You are not expected to stay awake. You are not expected to remember. These words can simply wash over you, like reflections of starlight on a black, quiet sea. If your thoughts wander away from the planets and into your own dreams, that is perfectly fine. We will keep drifting without you. So, shall we begin this night voyage through 100 peaceful glimpses of the universe, and see how far into sleep these worlds can carry you? Then, as we begin, the universe around us can become very simple. In the old picture, planets are faithful companions of stars, circling in bright, regular paths, warmed by a steady glow and marked by familiar rhythms of morning and evening. We think of blue skies, of gentle dawns, of sunsets that tell us when the day is done. Yet between those islands of light, in the wide darkness of our galaxy, there are other worlds that follow no sunrise at all. Rogue planets are full-size planets that wander through space without any star to call home. They drift in almost perfect darkness, guided only by the soft pull of the galaxy itself, lit faintly by distant stars and the pale haze of faraway galaxies. Imagine floating beside a lonely planet, drifting forever through the soft darkness between the stars, its horizon outlined only by a thin curve of starlight. As you close your eyes, you might picture entire worlds sailing silently through space, with no sunrise and no sunset, only a long, unbroken night. Some may be giant, stormy spheres with clouds rolling through endless twilight. Another may be a frozen globe, its surface hard and still, while deep inside, hidden heat keeps secret oceans from turning to ice. A few may even glow very faintly with leftover warmth from their birth, like quiet embers wrapped in a blanket of darkness. For now, all you need to do is let your shoulders soften and let your breathing slow, as we turn our attention to these mysterious worlds. Space between the stars is not truly empty. It is filled with thin clouds of gas and dust, with invisible particles drifting for ages. Through this calm, silent ocean, rogue planets move without sound, following patient paths that can last for billions of years. Tonight, we will wander through 100 quiet facts about space, many of them resting on these wandering planets and the dark, gentle corridors they travel. Each fact will be like a small, unhurried step away from your daily worries, a soft footfall along a path that leads deeper into stillness. Some will remind you how slowly our Milky Way turns, taking hundreds of millions of years to complete a single rotation. Others will pause on the silence of space, where no air carries sound, and every motion is smooth and undisturbed. As you listen, you are not expected to remember, only to allow your mind to settle into stillness while the story continues. What might it feel like to stand on a world with no dawn, to see only the glow of distant galaxies overhead? Could a place so dark still be strangely welcoming? In that sense, these worlds may be far more surprising and far more gentle than they first appear. And if you stay with this journey a little longer, you may find that some of them feel almost like quiet homes in the dark. As you picture those quiet homes in the dark, you can begin to make your own body feel a little more like them, calm and unhurried, resting in the gentle night. For now, all you need to do is notice where you are, the surface beneath you, the way gravity holds you just as it holds planets in their slow paths through the galaxy. If it feels comfortable, let your shoulders soften and allow the muscles around your neck to loosen as if they have been wandering all day and have finally found a place to settle. Unclench your jaw, let your tongue rest easily, and let your hands grow heavy where they lie. Some areas of your body may still feel busy, another may feel already quiet, and a few may be somewhere in between. All of that is perfectly fine. Now let your breathing slow. Take a gentle breath in through the nose, and then let a longer, softer breath flow out, as if you are exhaling across a vast, dark ocean of space. A calm inhale and a slower exhale, like a rogue planet drifting past distant stars, moving steadily, never in a hurry. Each time you breathe out, imagine a little more tension leaving your body, like light fading from a sky that is ready for night. As you follow that rhythm, there is nothing you need to remember and nothing you need to solve. Thoughts may still wander in and out, yet they can wander the way these worlds do, passing quietly through the darkness without disturbing anything. You do not have to push them away. You can simply watch them appear and fade, the way we watch faint galaxies come into view and then slip back into the background. Allow your mind to settle into stillness, not by forcing it, but by giving it something peaceful to rest on. You might imagine yourself floating beside a single planet, its surface hidden in shadow, while the pale glow of far-off galaxies paints a soft halo around it. In that sense, you'll become a calm observer, not needing to act, only to drift alongside these mysterious worlds as they move through silent space. As this journey continues, each new fact about space can be a small invitation to relax a little more deeply, rather than something to focus on or analyze. One detail may help your shoulders sink, another may soften your face, and a few may simply blur into the edge off sleep. While you rest, the universe will keep its patient, steady pace, and we will wander through these planets together, letting every quiet piece of the story guide you further into the dark, peaceful distance between the stars. As we drift together into that distance, it helps to meet one quiet idea at a time, and the first is simple. A rogue planet is a full-size world that wanders through space without any star of its own. It is not a fragment or a broken piece. It is a complete planet, moving slowly through the galaxy in deep, patient darkness. In the old picture, when you think of planets, you probably see something like Earth, circling a bright sun. You might imagine blue oceans, white clouds, and the steady glow of daylight that fades into night and returns again. Most of the planets we know follow this pattern, going around their stars in calm, repeating paths, warmed and lit by Anarby sun. What keeps them there is gravity, a quiet pull that reaches across space and holds things together. Your body feels it as weight, pressing you gently toward the ground. On a larger scale, that same invisible pull guides planets around stars, and stars around the center of the galaxy, so that everything moves in smooth, curved paths rather than drifting away. Rogue planets are what happens when a world is no longer held close to a star. Some may have been born in a system like ours, and then slowly pushed outward until they slipped free. Another may have formed alone from a small cloud of gas. Never part of any family of worlds at all. In that sense, these worlds are still obeying gravity, but now they follow the broader pull of the galaxy itself, not the tight circle around a single sun. Without a nearby star, there is no sunrise and no sunset on a rogue planet. Day and night do not trade places. Instead, there is almost perfect darkness, broken only by very distant starlight and the soft, pale glow of faraway galaxies. If you could float just above the surface, you would see the sky as a deep, velvet dome, with the Milky Way stretched across it like a faint, luminous river. Let your breathing slow for a moment and imagine that view. No blue sky, no bright disk of a sun, only the patient glitter of distant stars and the thin haze of interstellar dust, glowing gently as it reflects whatever faint light reaches it. In that quiet, even a single shooting star would feel like an event. For now, all you need to do is picture that lonely world, moving without hurry through space, unseen and unbothered. Let your shoulders soften as you realize that even here, far from any sun, a planet is still a planet, with mountains, ice, maybe clouds, and a history written in stone and silence. These mysterious worlds may never feel the warmth of a nearby star again, yet each one carries its own quiet story through the dark. And in a moment, we will begin to wonder what might be happening on their hidden, unlit surfaces. So now, instead of just picturing the semi-mysterious worlds from afar, you can imagine yourself standing on one. For now, all you need to do is let your attention drift from our bright, familiar sky to a place where no sun ever rises. You find your feet on solid ground, on the frozen crust of a rogue planet wandering through space. Under your boots, there's a faint, brittle crunch, the sound of ice and dust pressed together over millions of quiet years. The air, if there is any at all, is still and thin, so calm that even a gentle movement feels like it echoes a long way. Above you there is no blue, no clouds, no hint of a coming dawn. They're only a permanent starscape. The sky is a deep, velvety darkness, but it is not empty. Countless tinelights are scattered overhead, more than you have ever seen from Earth, because there is no atmosphere here to blur them. Some burn with a steady white shine, others with a softer, warmer glow, and across it all lies the pale smear of a distant galaxy, a quiet river of light flowing from one side of the sky to the other. You might notice a faint blush where a nebula hangs, like color red smoke frozen in place. There is no sunrise to wait for here, and no sunset to mark an ending. Time loses its usual shape. There is no morning, no noon, no evening, only a slow, unchanging night that wraps around you like a blanket. In that sense, this world feels outside the usual rhythm of days and weeks. Hours are measured only by your breathing and the steady beat of your heart. How long have you been standing here? It does not really matter. Let your shoulders soften as you look around this dark plain, maybe broken by low hills or distant mountains that rise as black silhouettes against the starry sky. Let your breathing slow as you notice how quiet it is, how even your smallest movement seems loud against the background of complete silence. There is no wind tugging at your clothes, no rustle of leaves, no hum of insects, only the gentle sound of your own breath and the soft crunch beneath your feet. Yet in this stillness, you are not truly alone. The galaxy arches above you, a reminder that this planet is part of a much larger pattern, drifting along a slow path guided by invisible gravity. Some stars you see may have their own planets, warm and bright. Another may host a world like this one, wandering in darkness. A few may even have captured Arog as an immigrant world, folding it into a new family of light. Allow your mind to settle in stillness as you imagine your thoughts behaving like the thin frost at your feet. Here, worries have nothing to cling to. There are no clocks, no screens, no busy streets, only the vast dark and quiet glitter of distant suns. One by one, your concerns can loosen their grip and drift upward, becoming lighter and lighter until they fade into the starry sky like mist, leaving you alone with Thekam, patient night, ready to follow this planet deeper into the dark. As that first planet drifts away with your worries, you might notice something gentle happening in your mind. The old picture off planets, the one many of us grew up with, begins to soften around the edges, like chalk lines in a light rain. In the old picture, planets are always part of a family. There's a bright central star like a parent, and around it the children circle in neat paths, each world held in place by warm stellite. We see diagrams in school with perfect rings, every orbit labeled, every planet in its proper place, and it is easy to believe that this is what a planet must be. A loyal companion, forever tied to its sun. Yet, as you lie here and let your breathing slow, a different image can emerge. Rogue planets show us that a world does not need a nearby star to exist. These worlds wander through space under the quiet pull of the galaxy itself, moving through almost perfect darkness, lit only by distant starlight and the faint haze of faraway galaxies. In that sense, they are not children in a titty household. They are travelers, moving along the wide, silent roads between the stars. You can imagine the universe as a vast landscape of homes and journeys. Some planets stay close to their star home, like someone who loves the comfort of a familiar room, returning again and again to the same warm window and the same rising sun. Another may drift in a wide, slow path at the edge of its system, like a quiet farm on the outskirts of a town. And then there are the wanderers, the rogue planets that have left any single home behind and now roam the cosmic countryside, crossing dark fields between starry villages. For now, all you need to do is let your shoulders soften and watch these scenes unfold in your imagination. Some worlds glow faintly with leftover heat, lacumbers buried deep inside stone. Some may carry frozen oceans beneath thick shells of ice. A few may pass through thin clouds of gas and dust, brushing against the invisible mist that fills the spaces between stars. Each one moves in silence, guided by gravity's slow, patient hand. Their existence quietly stretches our definition of what a planet is. It reminds us that the universe does not always fit into the neat categories we draw in textbooks, that there is more variety in the dark than our early diagrams ever showed. If planets can be wanderers as well as homebodies, if they can live with or without the steady light of a nearby sun, how many other hidden kinds of worlds might waiting out there in the quiet? And among all those unseen variations, what sort of planet do you think we will meet next, when we follow our attention even deeper into the dark? So when we ask what kind of planet we might meet next, there is another, deeper question waiting underneath. It is not only about types of worlds, but about how many there may be, drifting in the darkness where our eyes do not naturally look. Astronomers now quietly suspect that there may be more rogue planets in our galaxy than there are stars. The Milky Way holds hundreds of billions of stars, each on a steady point of light when we see it from a dark place on Earth. And yet the number of starless planets might be even larger, spread through space like an invisible mist of worlds. In the old picture, you might imagine our galaxy as a great, flat disk of shining stars, like a calm city seen from above at night. Yet between those bright windows of light, there may be far more planets. Moving in silence, each one following the gentle pull of the galaxy itself rather than circling in a single sun. These worlds form an unseen population, a hidden story unfolding in the dark lanes between the glowing spiral arms. Some may be small and rocky, no bigger than Mars. Another may be a lonely giant as massive as Jupiter. A few may travel in loose pairs or trios, faint families wandering together through the night. When you look up, you see the visible side of this story. You see the stars. You see the bright, confident points that our eyes and cameras can easily catch. Yet for every shining point in the sky above you, there may be several planets passing far away from any light, so dark that even powerful telescopes barely notice them. In that sense, the night sky is almost misleading. It seems sprinkled with distant suns and mostly empty in between, when it may actually be thick with invisible planets, drifting slowly through the same space that looks so clear. The space between stars may be far more crowded and far more gentle than it appears at first glance. As you rest here, let your shoulders soften and let your breathing slow. You can picture this hidden crowd of worlds. Some may be glowing very faintly with leftover warmth, like embers that never quite went out. Others may be cold and quiet, their surfaces frozen, their insides still slow-listing over billions of years. For now, all you need to do is imagine that the sky above you is not just a pattern of lights, but an ocean of unseen planets moving in the dark. How can we speak about worlds we can barely see at all? In a moment, we will wander into that mystery and explore how we even know these invisible travelers are really there. When you look up at the sky tonight, you mostly see the bright points. Stars, planets, the occasional soft glow of a distant galaxy, all stitched into accurate pattern against the darkness. Yet for every shining point of starlight your eyes can catch, there may be several dark worlds drifting unseen. For every familiar star you recognize, there may be whole families of planets that have slipped away, wandering alone through space where no sun receiver comes. In that sense, the universe may be far more planetary than it first appears, filled with hidden worlds moving through the dark like slow, silent ships. Some of these worlds may be as small as Mars, frozen and quiet, their surfaces locked in ice. Some may be giants like Jupiter, with deep, swirling atmospheres that never see a dawn. Another may carry a buried ocean, warmed from within, while its sky remains forever black. A few may still glow faintly with leftover heat, like warm embers drifting through the cold between the stars. If you could spread the night sky out like a piece of lace, the stars would be the little knots of light, bright and easy to see. Between them, there would be wide stretches of darkness where planets may wander, crossing and recrossing the invisible threads of gravity. Those dark regions are not empty. They might be full of these mysterious worlds, each one following its patient path through space. As you picture that lacework above you, let your shoulders soften. Let your breathing slow. For now, all you need to do is imagine that every gap between the stars may hide more planets, more chances for oceans, mountains, and clouds that no one has ever seen. The galaxy becomes calmer when you think of it this way, not as a harsh emptiness, but as a quiet, crowded sea of worlds. In the old picture, we thought mostly about stars, as if the universe were built out of points of light and almost nothing else. Yet now we suspect that planets may be just as common, perhaps even more common, than the stars that once seemed to define everything. The darkness between those lights might be the true home of countless drifting worlds. How can we sense something that gives off almost no light at all? How can we notice a planet that might pass in front of a distant star only once, and never again in a human lifetime? In a moment, we will follow the faintest clues and see how even these almost invisible crossings can whisper that a hidden world has just slipped by. To find something that almost never speaks, we have to listen in a different way. In the old picture of astronomy, we imagine bright stars through simple telescopes, clear beams of light, and obvious patterns in the sky. Rogue planets do not play by that picture. They do not shine with their own steady light like stars, and they have no nearby sun to reflect, no neat circle of seasons to give them away. They wander through the galaxy wrapped in darkness, and from our small, bright world, they are almost perfectly hidden. Yet even the quietest traveler can leave a trace. Imagine you are watching a single candle across a dark room. The flame is steady, soft, familiar. Then, for just a moment, a shape crosses in front of it, and the light dips ever so slightly before returning to normal. If you were relaxed and patient enough, you would notice that tiny change and know that something had passed between you and the flame. Astronomers use that same idea with distant stars. Sometimes, by chance, a rogue planet drifts in front of a faraway star from our point of view, and the star's light dims for a brief, gentle moment. It may be only a tiny drop, lasting for hours or days, and then the planet moves on, never to repeat that exact crossing in a human lifetime. But in that small shadow, in that soft dip in brightness, we can read the presence of a hidden world that would otherwise remain invisible. Some of these mysterious worlds offer another faint clue. When a large rogue planet is still young, it may hold on to leftover warmth from its birth, glowing not with bright flames, but like warm embers in the dark. To our eyes, that glow would be nothing at all, yet with sensitive instruments tuned to gentle heat instead of visible light, we can sometimes catch that quiet warmth. Some may appear as tiny, reddish dots against the black of space. Another may be barely more than a whisper in the background, a small rise in warmth where there should be none. A few may stand out just enough that we can begin to guess their size and temperature. In that sense, we are not seeing them the way we see stars. We are noticing a shadow move across a wall in a candlelit room, or the last glow in a bed of coals after the fire has gone out. For now, all you need to do is let your shoulders soften and imagine how patient that kind of watching must be, how slowly the data must settle, how calmly you have to wait for a single passing hint. Let your breathing slow as you picture these worlds, almost entirely unseen, revealing themselves only through the gentlest clues. We have found only a few, just enough to know they are real. Yet those few suggest a far larger, more varied population still hidden from view, waiting in the darkness. In a moment, we will drift toward what those hidden planets might be like up close, and what it would feel like to stand on a world between the stars. And as we drift toward those hidden surfaces, there is something gentle would like to place in Thequiet between us, almost like a small lantern set down on a dark path. If you find that these slow journeys through space help your thoughts unwind, if they make the night feel a little softer around the edges, you might choose one evening to help us guide another sleepy soul into this calm. Some may tap the like button, leaving a faint trace that tells the algorithms this is a peaceful corner worth sharing. Another may subscribe, so that more nights can open with this same steady hush, ready whenever you are. A few may even leave a calm thought in the comments, a simple goodnight, or a favorite image of distant planets wandering between the stars. In that sense, each small action is like lighting a tiny beacon in the darkness of the galaxy of videos, a quiet signal that says, here is a place to rest. We are not counting, and there is no urgency, only the slow, patient way that light spreads when one person shows another where to look. One sleepy soul at a time, this little community of listeners grows, not as numbers on a screen, but as a shared awareness that somewhere out there, others are also letting their shoulders soften and they're breathing slow while they imagine these mysterious worlds. Yet there is nothing you need to do in this moment. For no, all you need to do is lie where you are, feel the weight of your body gently supported, and allow your mind to settle into stillness. If your eyes are already heavy, you can simply listen, letting the invitation drift past like a distant comet, something you might return to only when you are awake and ready, on another night, in another quiet hour. Think of it as leaving a soft trail of starlight behind you, a way for someone else to find this same peaceful darkness when their own thoughts are too loud. Some may arrive here after a long day, some after a restless night, and a few may be listening from the other side of the world, under a completely different sky. Yet we all meet in the same vast space of the imagination, watching rogue planets wander in silence. And now, we will let the idea of buttons and screens fade, and return to the slow unfolding of the story. Ahead of us waits the surface of a lonely world between the stars, and together we will step closer, as quietly as a shadow crossing starlight. So we arrive at that lonely surface together, standing beside a world that has lost its sun, wrapped in endless night. At first, a planet without sunlight sounds like a frozen, lifeless ball, drifting through the galaxy with nothing but cold for company. In the old picture, warmth belongs to stars. Planets are warmed from above, bathed in steady light, and without that glow they simply freeze. Yet, warmth does not only come from above. Deep inside many planets, there is heat left over from their birth, when rock and ice fell together and squeezed tight, and tiny traces of radioactive elements continue to release a slow, patient warmth for billions of years. You can imagine this inner heat as a quiet coal in a bed of ash. On the outside, everything looks dark and still, but beneath the surface something is gently glowing. Some planets may be like that, cold to the touch at the top, yet warm far below. Some may be small rocky worlds, with heavy hearts of metal that stay warm for a very long time. Another may be a giant made mostly of ice, its deep layers pressed so tightly that they hold on to heat in ways we are only beginning to understand. Around that inner core, a planet can grow its own blanket. A thick atmosphere can trap heat the way a winter coat keeps you warm, slowing the escape of energy into space. A crust of ice can do the same thing, acting like the walls of a thermos bottle, keeping the inside from easily sharing its temperature with the silent darkness outside. In that sense, a rogue planet does not need sunlight to hide pockets of liquid water. On Earth, we have lakes buried under the ice of Antarctica, kept from freezing solid by pressure and slow heat from below. Icy moons like Europa and Enceladus show us oceans sealed under shells of ice, circling far from the bright center of the solar system. These worlds are our hints, small examples telling us that liquid water can persist in the dark, if there is enough pressure, enough insulation, and just a little inner warmth. As you picture this, let your shoulders soften and let your breathing slow. For now, all you need to do is imagine walking across a frozen plain on a starless planet, knowing that far beneath your feet an ocean might be quietly moving, never seeing the sky. Allow your mind to settle into stillness as you wonder, what could swim there in a sea with no sunrise? These mysterious worlds may look dead from the outside, yet inside they could be quietly active, whispering with currents and chemistry in a darkness no star has ever touched. And if a planet can keep an ocean alive in such deep night, what else might it be hiding, waiting for us in the chapters ahead? If an ocean can survive an endless night, then the space around it must have a story too, a story of how a quiet world can lose its sun. To follow that story, we drift backward in time, into the youth of planetary systems, when everything is brighter, warmer, and far less settled. In the old picture, we imagine planets forming into neat, clockwork orbits and staying that way forever. Yet young systems are not calm clockwork at all. They are crowded nurseries, filled with newborn worlds still growing, still shifting, moving in paths that wobble and wander around their star. Some orbits cross, some lean at strange angles, and all the while gravity tugs and whispers, pulling every planet toward a slightly different future. You can think of these early systems as slow, silent dances in a crowded room. A giant planet moves inward, another drifts outward, a smaller world waits in between. When two large planets pass near each other, their gravity can act like a gentle slingshot, stealing a little motion from one end, giving it to the other. One world may be guided closer to the star, where light grows stronger and years grow shorter, while its partner is eased outward into cooler, thinner sunlight. For a long time, nothing dramatic seems to happen. A planet that once circled its star peacefully is nudged again and again by distant companions. Its path stretches, becomes more oval, carries it farther out each year. For now, all you need to do is imagine that slow change, orbit after orbit, like a circle gradually becoming an open loop. Eventually, the dance becomes dangerous. Two giants pass a little closer than before, and gravity rearranges everything with quiet efficiency. One planet falls inward, captured in a tighter embrace with the star. The other is given just enough extra speed that its stretched path no longer closes. It drifts farther and farther away until the star's pull is no longer strong enough to call it back. Now we have a banished world, a traveler that has lost its sun. It does not feel the moment it becomes a rogue. There is no sudden jolt, only the gradual realization, orbit be orbit, that there will be no next return, only a long, slow journey into the soft darkness between stars. Let your breathing slow as you picture that gentle departure, the last sunset shrinking behind it, the galaxy opening ahead. Some banished worlds may pass near other stars and be welcomed into new systems. Another may wander the Milky Way for billions of years, wrapped only in starlight from afar. In that sense, every rogue planet we glimpse is a memory made solid, a quiet echo of a crowded, chaotic youth around some distant star, still carrying the story of the home Itance called its own. And as we keep going, we will follow these mysterious worlds out into that wider darkness, to see how they travel through the galaxy itself. Out in that wider darkness, those drifting paths continue for ages beyond counting, but here, your journey can slow. Before we follow these mysterious worlds any farther through the galaxy, take a moment to come back to something very simple and very close. Notice your breathing again. The gentle rise and fall of your chest, the quiet rhythm of air moving in and out, like a small tide in the ocean of your body. For now, all you need to do is feel that motion, without changing it, as if you were watching a calm planet turn once, and then again in the soft light of distant stars. Let your shoulders soften, as though gravity has become a little deeper and a little kinder. With each exhale, allow your body to grow heavier, sinking into the bed or couch beneath you the way a world settles into its own invisible well of gravity. The mattress holds you the way the galaxy holds these worlds, steady and unhurried, with a pull that asks nothing from you. If thoughts wander through, you do not have to follow them. Just notice the way your chest expands and then releases while your limbs rest in place. Some breaths may feel a little deeper. Another may be shallow and light. A few may stretch out longer than you expect. All of them are welcome here. You do not need to remember every detail we have shared, or every image of planets and stars drifting through space. Your mind is free to drift in and out, like a rogue planet gliding between constellations, sometimes passing close to a sunlit system of ideas, sometimes moving back into darkness and quiet. In that sense, losing the thread for a moment is not a problem at all. It is part of the journey. Let your breathing slow, if it wishes to, matching the patient pace of a planet taking millions of years to circle the galaxy once. If your eyes want to close more fully, you can let them. If they were already closed, you might notice the soft patterns behind your eyelids, like faint nebulae and distant galaxies made of memory instead of light. You aerialode to fall asleep at any time. The story of space will continue without needing your attention, like a gentle lullaby that keeps playing in a dark room while you rest. Even if you remember only a single image in the morning, the rest will have done its work quietly, helping your thoughts settle like fine dust in low gravity. And as you lie there, held in your own small corner of the universe, we will go on exploring for you. In a moment, we will return to the facts themselves, to more quiet, surprising details about planets that wander without suns, and about the calm, thin space between stars. Each one will be another slow step, guiding you deeper into stillness, and letting your mind settle into stillness as the night goes on. So as we leave that last thought, we can widen the view a little, and let the whole universe come gently into frame. Instead of picturing one lonely planet, you can imagine all of space as a vast, dark ocean, stretching quietly in every direction, soft and deep and almost still. In the old picture, people once imagined space as completely empty, a perfect nothing between the stars. Yet the reality is more delicate than that. Even in the darkest regions, there are thin clouds of gas, single grains of dust, and invisible particles that wander 4 light years, drifting slowly as if they were tiny specks in an endless, silent sea. Because that sea is almost a perfect vacuum, there is no air to carry sound from place to place. Planets turn, stars burn, and whole galaxies move past one another, but they do so in complete, peaceful silence. Agiant World can swing around its star, a rogue planet can pass through the outskirts of a galaxy, and no one would hear the faintest ripple. It is motion without noise, like a dance performed in absolute quiet. If you look out across this ocean, the galaxies become distant islands of light. Each one holds hundreds of billions of stars, yet from far away they are just soft, hazy glows, slowly rotating over hundreds of millions of years. In a single human lifetime, a galaxy hardly changes at all. Its spirals keep their graceful shape, its stars keep circling, and the whole structure turns so slowly that it might as well be frozen for us. For now. All you need to do is imagine yourself floating on that ocean, on a very small, very safe boat. Your own life, your room, your bed, are like a tiny vessel resting on the surface of this quiet cosmic sea. Let your shoulders soften as you picture the Milky Way turning beneath you, its stars like distant lanterns, steady and calm. Our planet is one little island of stability, sheltered in a gentle bay of this ocean, protected by the gravity of our star and the soft cushion of our atmosphere. Let your breathing slow as you remember that. While the galaxy moves on immense timescales, you are held in a warm, familiar harbor, far from the coldest dips between the stars. And yet, even here, the ocean is not truly still. Gravity creates slow, invisible currents that guide planets and rogue worlds along their paths, and whole galaxies drift toward one another in long, patient arcs. What quiet patterns are being traced out there, in the darkness, by these mysterious worlds as they wander? In a moment, we will follow those hidden currents, and watch how they shape the long, slow dances of the drifting planets themselves. Those hidden currents of gravity are not rough or hurried. They are more like the slow tilt of a landscape, so gentle you only notice it when you watch how everything moves over long, quiet stretches of time. You can imagine space as a wide, shallow bowl, and gravity as the way that bowl curves. If you place a marble near the edge and let it go, it does not shoot straight across and out. It rolls in a smooth arc, circling, slowing, tracing graceful loops before it settles. Planets move in a similar way. They are like marbles rolling around the dim glow of their stars, following the soft shape carved into space by gravity's invisible hand. In the old picture, we might imagine space as flat and empty, with planets simply pulled inward by a kind of invisible string. Yet the modern view is calmer and more elegant. Gravity bends the very fabric of space, creating gentle hollows and slopes. A star makes a deep, rounded valley. Its planets move along the curves of that valley, not because they are being yanked, but because they are following the easiest possible path. Some planets trace nearly perfect circles, returning again and again to the same slow seasons. Another may follow a longer oval, drifting far from its star and then gliding back in, like a leaf carried out and then returned by a wide, looping current. A few move in tilted paths, like marbles that were nudged at an angle, still obeying the same quiet rules. On a larger scale, stars themselves follow these curves. Each star in our galaxy is like a small marble in a much bigger bowl, circling the Milky Way's center over hundreds of millions of years. From far away, it is a patient dance, with no sudden steps, only smooth turns and long, sweeping arcs through the darkness. Rogue planets, once they are freed from their own stars, do not escape gravity. They simply join a wider pattern. Instead of circling close to a sun, they begin to follow the soft slope of the galaxy itself, drifting between the stars along paths that may take billions of years to complete. They are like leaves that have left a small eddy in a stream and now ride the slow middle current of the river. For now, all you need to do is picture one of the swirls, gliding silently along its curve. Let your shoulders soften as you imagine the planet never quite alone, always feeling the faint pull of distant stars, always guided by the same gentle rules. Even when it seems to wander in darkness, it is still part of a larger, graceful pattern. And as you let your breathing slow, you can rest inside that same quiet order, knowing that every lonely path is woven into the wider flow of the universe. And in that wider flow, there are other companions to the darkness, waiting quietly between the stars. While rogue planets wander almost entirely unlit, some drift through a softer kind of night, near objects that glow just a little, like coals that never quite became a fire. These are brown dwarfs, sometimes called failed stars, and the name alone tells a calm story. A star is born when a cloud of gas grows dense and hot enough for its heart to ignite, flooding space with bright light. A brown dwarf begins the same way, but never grows quite heavy or hot enough to shine like a true star, so it glows only dimly, mostly in deep infrared light that your eyes cannot see. At first, that might sound like a disappointment, as if these mysterious worlds' Afghas never finished becoming what they were meant to be. Yet, in that sense, they are gentle successes of another kind. Instead of blazing fiercely, they settle into a low, steady warmth, like a covered lantern on a distant hill, lighting only the small region of space around them. If you could float nearby, you would not see a harsh glare. You would see a muted orb, barely visible, wrapped in soft twilight, quietly warming its surroundings. Some may be only a little larger than giant planets, with thin, hazy clouds in their upper layers. Another may carry bands and storms like exaggerated Jupiter, moving slowly in the dark. A few may even share temperatures not so different from a warm summer night on Earth, just hanging there in the deep, soundless ocean of the galaxy. Some rogue planets may pass close to these dim companions, not close enough to orbit tightly, but close enough to feel their presence. A lonely planet might drift through the faint glow of a brown dwarf, its frozen surface lit in a dull, reddish hue, like embers seen through smoke. For a while, the planet and the dwarf move together, a loose, quiet partnership far from any bright star, two wanderers sharing a patch of gentle light. For now, all you need to do is imagine those pairings, scattered through the darkness, like tiny campfires spread across an endless plain. Let your shoulders soften as you picture space not as a harsh black void, but as a softly lit landscape, where not all light is sharp or blinding. Some of it is mild and patient, like coals that never quite go out. As you allow your mind to settle into stillness, you can rest with the thought that even the coldest regions of space are rarely empty. What waits beyond these quiet lanterns and their companion planets? In the shadows lie other surprises. Great clouds, drifting comets, and distant shells of ice that form a hidden border around star systems. And we are about to wander out toward those frozen edges next. So we follow those quiet lanterns outward, and the familiar planets begin to thin away, until even Neptune is only a pale memory behind you. As you drift farther into the soft darkness, the solar system does not suddenly stop. Instead, it slowly blurs into something more like a mist, a faint, almost invisible shell surrounding our home star. Far beyond the known planet's least what astronomers call the Uit cloud, a vast, spherical swarm of icy objects that surrounds the sun in every direction. You can imagine it as a delicate snow globe of frozen fragments, stretching almost halfway to the nearest star, so large that a single journey across it would take millions of years. In the old picture, our solar system ended near Pluto, a neat arrangement of orbits with a Clean edge. Yet, when we look more deeply, we find this soft halo of ice, gently fatting into the wider galaxy. Each piece in that halo is tiny compared with planets, more like a mountain of ice and rock than a world, but together they form an enormous, silent community. These comets are frozen travelers that spend almost all of their lives drifting slowly in the dark, so far from the sun that its light is only a bright star among many. Some may circle lazily for billions of years, moving so gently that their paths hardly change during the entire history of human civilization. A few may never come close enough to feel real warmth at all. For now, all you need to do is picture one of the semi-mysterious worlds of ice, turning almost motionless in the black, its surface colder than anything on Earth. Let your breathing slow as you imagine how quiet it must be there, with no wind, no sound, only the faint pull of gravity from the sun and the distant glitter of the Milky Way wrapped around Thesky. In that sense, The Oort cloud is like a waiting room between our star's domain and the deeper darkness of interstellar space. Every so often, a passing star, or even a wandering rogue planet, glides by on its own path through the galaxy. Its gravity reaches out like a passing tide, gently disturbing the outer parts of the cloud. Some icy bodies are nudged onto long, looping orbits that slowly carry them inward, where they may one day bloom into bright comets, trailing tails of light across our inner sky. Another may be shifted only slightly, its path altered by a distance smaller than Earth's width, yet that tiny change can decide whether it will forever remain in the dark or begin a journey toward the sun. Because of this, our solar system does not have a sharp border. Instead, it fades like a shoreline dissolving into open sea, grains of icy rock standing in for grains of sand, until the last pieces are lost to the general darkness between stars. Allow your mind to settle in stillness as you rest on that image. A star, its planets, and then a faint shell of comets, blending into the galaxy itself. Beyond that shell, there is no more subtle boundary, only open space where rogue planets roam freely, unbound to any sun. Some may have been born around distant stars before being cast out. Others may have formed alone in the dark, far from any warm light at all. What stories do they carry from their many stellar neighborhoods? And what happens when one of the cell-only worlds wanders close enough to touch a system like ours? We will drift out to meet the Seplanets next, following them into the deeper spaces between the stars. As we follow those wandering planets into deeper space, imagine that you are drifting just ahead of them, gliding by on the quiet border of our own solar system. Behind you, the familiar worlds shrink and soften, like a row of distant streetlights fading into a gentle fog of starlight. In the old picture, the edge of the solar system was a hard line, a final frontier where everything simply ended. Yet in reality, that boundary is more like a slow, dim shoreline, where the sun's influence thins out and the darkness between the stars begins to open. You can imagine yourself passing through that invisible curtain, leaving the bright inner planets far behind. As you cross that threshold in your mind, notice your body here in this room. For now, all you need to do is scan quietly from the top of your head down to your toes, as if you were looking for the last bright specks of tension against a dark sky. If you find any around your neck, your jaw, your hands, simply let your shoulders soften and picture that tightness lifting away. You might imagine each small knot of tension becoming a tiny comet, released into the dark, drifting out on a long, graceful path until it is no longer anywhere near you. Some may wander far beyond the planets, some may melt into the soft glow of the galaxy, and a few may simply fade like sparks in deep water. Let your breathing slow as you float there, just beyond the sun's reach. You are not moving quickly. Everything here is patient. Inhale as though you are gliding inward toward a distant star, drawing in its faint, cool light. Exhale as though you are drifting away again, carried on a wide, slow orbit that takes millions of quiet miles to complete. We usually think of orbits as fast, tight loops close to bright suns. Yet out here, an orbit can be so vast that it feels almost like a straight line. Some worlds may circle the galaxy itself, taking hundreds of millions of years to complete a single turn. Your breath can echo that calm scale, a gentle approach, a gentle retreat, nothing rushed, nothing forced. Allow your mind to settle into stillness, even as your imagination keeps wandering outward. You are safe and still where you are, resting in your own small world, while these mysterious worlds travel through darkness on your behalf. If sleep arrives and your awareness drifts away, you will not miss anything important. The planets will continue their slow journeys, and the story will simply fold into your dreams. For a moment, picture the space between the stars itself, not empty, but filled with thin veils of gas, faint dust, and the hidden paths of rogue planets moving in long, patient arcs. In that sense, the galaxy is a vast, quiet ocean, and we are just learning to notice the ships that sail without any lanterns. In a few breaths, we will return to the gentle facts of that ocean, to the dark lanes where starless planets, lonely moons, and other quiet travelers drift between constellations, shaping the galaxy in ways we aerially beginning to see. From that wide, quiet ocean of the galaxy, we can drift our attention to the spaces between its lights, to the long stretches between one star's glow and the next. This region is called interstellar space, and even though it looks like pure emptiness, It has a gentle substance, a faint breath of material spread out over immense distances. In that sense, the darkness between the stars is more like a mist so thin you could travel for years and never notice a single grain. There are atoms of gas, tiny specks of dust, and invisible particles passing silently by, all so widely spaced that a single breath of air on Earth contains more matter than a whole room of this cosmic fog. Yet they are there, floating, drifting, waiting, shaping the quiet background through which these worlds must wander. If you imagine a rogue planet moving here, you can picture it gliding through almost perfect darkness, with no nearby sun to mark morning or evening. There is no blue sky above, no warm daylight, only the soft, distant shimmer of stars scattered across the black, and the pale, hazy glow of faraway galaxies like islands of light on a night sea. For now, all you need to do is let your shoulders soften, and picture yourself beside that planet, sharing its slow journey. Some parts of Ichthys may be lit by a single bright star far behind it, casting a faint, silvery outline around mountains and frozen plains. Another region may see only the combined glow of millions of remote suns in the Milky Way, so dim that you could read nothing by it, yet steady and calm. A few lonely. Photons from distant galaxies would occasionally touch the planet, each one having traveled for billions of years to arrive, moving at the fastest speed allowed by nature, and still feeling patient compared to our brief human lives. It is like a ship sailing across a dark, quiet sea, with no waves, no wind, and no sound, only the deep black water below and the faint glow of distant shores along the horizon. You can almost stand on the deck in your mind, let your breathing slow, and watch the far-off bands of the galaxy curve gently around you like a dim coastline. Allow your mind to settle into stillness as the ship moves on, guided only by the soft pull of gravity. In the old picture, this space might have seemed completely empty, a blank stage for wandering planets and lonely stars. Yet even here, in the deepest quiet, there are hidden structures, delicate clouds where gas gathers, long filaments stretching between clusters of stars, and dense regions where new suns are waiting to ignite. What happens when a rogue planet's path carries it into one of those thicker, glowing regions of the dark? When a rogue planet drifts into one of those thicker regions, it is entering every different kind of darkness. Instead of empty, silent space, it finds itself inside a giant molecular cloud, an enormous, cold, and quiet structure made of gas and dust, stretching for dozens or even hundreds of light years. These clouds are among the darkest places in the galaxy. They are so thick with tiny grains of dust that visible light from nearby stars cannot pass through easily, so to our eyes they appear as deep, inky patches, cutting into the brighter glow of the Milky Way like missing pieces. Yet inside that darkness, atoms move slowly, temperatures fall to just a few degrees above absolute zero, and the raw material for new stars and planets gathers in patient silence. If you were floating there, you would not see much with your eyes. You would mostly feel the absence of light, the way the surrounding stars fade and then vanish behind the dust. For now, all you need to do is imagine that the familiar constellations are gently erased, replaced by a soft, velvety black, while far-infrared light and radio waves, invisible to you, quietly slip through the cloud and reveal its hidden shapes to distant telescopes. Inside this calm gloom, gravity works very slowly. It pulls here and there on slightly denser pockets of gas, allowing some regions to thicken and settle, becoming knots that grow heavier over millions of years. Some may gather enough mass to compress their centers until they ignite as newborn stars, wrapped in glowing cocoons. Another may remain smaller, forming only a failed star or a cluster of heavy planets. A few may end up as free-floating worlds from the very beginning, never bound to any sun. Around the densest knots, disks of dust and ice begin to form, thin, spinning pancakes where future planets will quietly assemble. Grains stick together, pebbles become boulders, and over time entire rocky worlds and gas giants take shape, all while the young star is still hidden deep inside the cloud. In that sense, these mysterious worlds we see wandering alone may have started life here, in crowded nurseries that felt anything but empty. Some planets will stay, locked into stable orbits once the cloud thins and starlight returns. Some may be nudged outward by larger siblings, sent on long, stretched paths. And a few will be pushed so far that they escape completely. ejected while the system is still wrapped in the fading remains of its birth cloud, carrying with them dust and ice from their original home. As you let your breathing slow and let your shoulders soften, you can picture these giant molecular clouds as vast, hidden nurseries scattered through the galaxy, where stars and planets are born in the dark. Not all of those children stay at home. Some leave almost at once, becoming wanderers from the very beginning. And in a moment, we will follow them as they emerge from the cloud and step into the wider galactic night. As those newborn stars and planets step out of their dark nurseries, they do not enter an empty stage. They join a vast, slow-motion dance, where entire galaxies glide past one another in almost complete silence. If you imagine zooming far away from any single world, you would see not just lone planets and lone stars, but whole islands of light drifting through the deep. In the old picture, we might imagine galaxies as solid disks that would collide like rigid wheels. Yet, a galaxy is mostly space. Its stars are tiny points separated by distances so great that even when galaxies pass through each other, almost every star simply slides by, untouched, continuing its journey as if nothing happened at all. For now, all you need to do is picture this passage not as a violent event, but as a gentle, patient crossing that can take billions of years. Two spirals approach one another, pale and ghostly, their arms made of countless suns. As they overlap, their shapes blend, like two faint reflections on still water. The stars inside them weave past each other like fireflies wandering through a summer night, bright specks drifting on interlaced paths, rarely emitting, never making a sound. Let your breathing slow as you imagine this, a slow, graceful dance written in light across the darkness. Gravity still does its quiet work. Some stars feel a slightly stronger pull and begin to trace new, longer orbits, looping far out from the centers of their galaxies. Another star may be drawn inward, settling into a tighter, more crowded path. A few may be gently lifted away altogether, becoming solitary travelers between galaxies, carrying their planets with them into deeper night. In that sense, even when galaxies pass through each other, they are also exchanging and releasing their own hidden worlds. Around those stars, some planets remain bound, circling steadily in their reshaped systems. Some may be tugged into wider, colder orbits, where years stretch out and starlight fades to a faint glow. A few planets may be pulled so carefully out of balance that they slip free, becoming rogue wanderers, no longer tied to any single star. These mysterious worlds drift on, guided only by the soft pull of the combined galaxies around them. From far away, the whole event looks almost serene. Arms of stars are slowly stretched and twisted, new patterns emerging over ages longer than any human memory. If you allow your mind to settle into stillness, you can almost feel how unhurried this process is, how safely distant it remains from our small, bright home. Yet even as you rest here, our own Milky Way is moving too, on a long, slow path toward a meeting with another great galaxy. And in a moment, we will step forward in time to glimpse what that distant encounter might mean for us. That distant encounter belongs to a future so remote that it almost feels outside of time, and yet even now our own galaxy is already in motion. The Milky Way itself is turning, very slowly, like a great, dim wheel of stars drifting through the darkness. Our solar system is part of that slow turn. We circle the center of the galaxy once every 230 million years, completing what astronomers sometimes call a galactic year. One lap of this enormous orbit takes longer than the entire age of mammals on Earth, longer than the time since the first dinosaurs walked under our young sky. When you think about a year, you might picture seasons changing, birthdays returning, familiar cycles repeating. A galactic year stretches that idea until it almost dissolves. In the span of a single human life, our system moves only a tiny fraction of the way around the galaxy, a small step along a path so long that entire civilizations rise and fade before the orbit noticeably advances. In that sense, all of human history is just a brief moment on this greater clock. Every story you have heard, every city ever built, every quiet night like this one, fits into a sliver of one slow turn around the galactic center. Let your shoulders soften as you imagine that vast circle and how gently we move along it. Our place in this motion is modest and calm. We live in the outskirts of the Milky Way, on a small, steady planet, circling an ordinary star that drifts with many others along a spiral arm. Around us, countless other stars trace their own wide orbits, and between them, there may be as many wandering planets as there are suns, moving in the same galactic flow without belonging to any particular system. Some of these worlds travel close to the luminous lanes of stars. Another may wander far above the thin disk of the galaxy, passing through regions where starlight is faint and the darkness feels deeper. A few may drift quietly near us, too distant to notice, yet still part of the same slow rotation that carries our home through space. When you look at time on this scale, most cosmic changes become very gentle. Stars are born and age over billions of years. Spiral arms drift and reshape themselves in slow patterns, and orbits like ours unfold with immense patience, far removed from the quick rhythm of daily worries. For now, all you need to do is let your breathing slow and allow your mind to settle into stillness with that long, even turn. If a rogue planet began its journey many galactic years ago, where might it be now? And what silent regions of the Milky Way has it already crossed as it continues to wander through the dark? As that wandering planet continues its quiet path through the dark, let your awareness drift back, very gently, to where you are now. Instead of following it out into the distant galaxy, imagine pulling away in the other direction, until you can see our own world from far, far above. Picture Earth as a small, glowing marble floating in a black, star-filled sea. There is deep darkness all around, yet this tiny sphere carries oceans, clouds, forests, and cities, wrapped in a thin, shining film of air. From that distance, the bright streaks of day and the soft curve of night flow slowly across its surface, and everything you know is contained inside that one cozy point of light. Now bring your attention back down through the sky, through the quiet air, all the way to the room you are in. Feel how this planet, with its mountains and seas and drifting continents, holds you up without effort. Under all the layers of atmosphere and cloud, under the ceiling above you, there is the simple, steady support of your bed. Notice the weight of your body resting there, the way the mattress rises gently to meet you. Feel the pillow cradling your head, the blanket settling over you like a soft, protective layer of atmosphere that belongs only to you. Let your shoulders soften as you recognize that this is your own small, safe patch of stability in a universe that moves on very slow, patient timescales. While galaxies turn and planets wander through space, your task does not need to be grand or complicated. For now, all you need to do is rest here and let your breathing slow. With each breath out, you can allow your mind to settle into stillness a little more, as if your thoughts were tiny satellites easing into a calm. Circular orbit. When we place our worries against the backdrop of millions of years and billions of stars, something gentle happens. A concern that filled the whole day becomes smaller, like a grain of dust compared to the wide band of the Milky Way. Some thoughts may simply fade at the edge of your awareness, another may pause and wait for morning, and a few may dissolve completely, becoming lighter and easier to set down. Here is a small pattern interrupt for your mind. Imagine holding one of those worries in your hand, then shrinking it until it is no bigger than a pebble, and sitting it carefully on that glowing marble of Earth, far below. Up here, in this quiet viewpoint, all you feel is space and calm. In that sense, you are already drifting like the planets we have been visiting in imagination, moving through a vast, silent ocean while your body lies safe and still. As you continue to relax, we will return to these mysterious worlds soon, to more rogue planets and strange, wandering systems that can carry your thoughts even farther from daily concerns, until sleep arrives on its own, as softly as starlight. As we drift with those wandering planets, the universe around us grows even quieter, and another kind of object appears in the distance, small yet astonishingly intense. Neutron stars are what remain when some massive stars reach the end of their lives and collapse, squeezing more mass than our sun into a sphere only about the size of a city. Up close, that density is beyond anything we meet in daily life, but from far away, the remnants become simple points of light, turning steadily in the dark. Many neutron stars spin manatimes each second, their strong magnetic fields guiding beams of radiation that sweep through space like the beam of a lighthouse. Some may turn hundreds of times in a heartbeat, and yet, seen from the calm distance of our part of the galaxy, they seem to move with a slow, reassuring grace. At first, the idea of a star spinning that quickly sounds wild and restless. Yet when those beams of light pass across Earth, we do not feel speed, we feel rhythm. The flashes are Rivia's gentle, steady pulses, like a faraway lantern appearing and disappearing at perfectly spaced moments, ticking softly against the silence of space. These objects are called pulsars, and their timing can be so precise that they rival the most careful atomic clocks we build on Earth. Some keep time better than any device we have ever made, turning themselves into natural, cosmic metronomes that have been ticking for millions of years. In that sense, they are like the quiet, patient heartbeat of the galaxy, keeping watch while planets, stars, and nebulae wander slowly around them. If you imagine listening to a neutron star, you might hear a steady, gentle tapping in the background of the universe, never hurried, never late. Some may spin faster, some slower, and a few may drift out of view behind clouds of gas and dust. But many keep going with the same dependable rhythm, night after night, age after age. For now, all you need to do is let your breathing slow and picture those calm, distant beacons turning without effort in the darkness. Up close, their gravity would be overwhelming, their magnetic fields fierce, their surfaces far from gentle. Yet from where we are, they have been transformed into something soothing, a predictable pattern shining across the void. You can let your shoulders soften as you imagine those pulses sweeping over Earth, too faint to disturb you, but regular enough to guide spacecraft and measure the shape of space itself. Allow your mind to settle into stillness with that image, the universe filled with tiny, careful clocks, all turning in the dark. And just beyond even these steady beacons lies something softer still, a faint afterglow left from the universe's first light, spread across all of space, waiting quietly for us in the next part of our journey. That faint afterglow from the universe's first light is called the cosmic microwave background, and you are floating in it right now. Even as you lie there, eyes closed, this ancient glow is quietly passing through you, through our planet, and through every empty stretch of space you can imagine. It is a very soft thing, not a bright beam or a sharp flash, but a low, gentle radio whisper that fills the entire universe with almost the same strength in every direction. In the old picture of space, people imagined stars sprinkled on a black, silent canvas. Yet underneath that darkness, there is this constant, uniform glow, a leftover warmth from when the cosmos was young and dense and filled with blinding light. Today, that first light has been stretched by the expansion of space into long, cool waves that our eyes cannot see and our ears cannot hear. To us, it feels like nothing at all. You cannot sense it on your skin. You cannot watch it shimmer across the sky. Only special instruments, tuned with great care, can reveal that the entire sky is glowing softly with this radio hum, as if the universe itself were breathing out a quiet memory. What makes this glow so calming is how smooth it is. Its strength hardly changes from one part of the sky to another. The differences are tiny, just gentle ripples in an almost perfectly still sea. Against Thetan backdrop, galaxies can gather, stars can ignite, and planets can wander, all while the largest-scale universe remains balanced and serene. In that sense, the cosmic microwave background is like a soft, steady note, holding everything together while the smaller details play out. For now, all you need to do is imagine the night sky not as empty blackness, but as a vast dome filled with this invisible warmth. Let your shoulders soften as you picture that quiet glow wrapping around the Milky Way, around distant clusters of galaxies, around lonely, starless worlds drifting in the dark. Does it change how you feel about the darkness, to know it is never truly bare, always lined with this ancient light? Let your breathing slow as you think of these worlds, tiny and cold, moving through universe that hums softly beneath them. Some may pass through regions where the glow looks almost exactly the same in every direction. Another may drift across a place where the faint ripples are just a little stronger, guiding matter to gather over billions of years. A few may spend their entire lives sailing through this calm background, untouched by any star. Allow your mind to settle in stillness with this idea. On the grandest scales, the universe is quiet, balanced, and gently evolving, held in the embrace of this radio afterglow. And against that ancient whisper, the story of Ekrog Planet is like a small, soothing note in a much larger song. A song we will keep listening to as we follow more of these wandering worlds through the dark. So, as that ancient radio song hums softly in the background of the universe, imagine one quiet note moving through it for an almost unthinkable length of time. A single rogue planet, wandering on and on. For now, all you need to doise picture this world as a small, dark ship, sailing through the galaxy while everything around it slowly changes. At first, it drifts through a bright, crowded region where new stars are being born in great clouds of gas and dust. Nebulae glow in gentle colors, like faint lanterns in the distance, and newborn stars shine with sharp, young light. Some may still be wrapped in their own disks off material, building planets of their own. Our wandering planet passes by quietly, feeling only the soft pull of distant gravity, leaving no trace and taking nothing with it. As time stretches on, tens of millions of years, then hundreds of millions, the scene around it begins to thin. The star-forming clouds fade behind it, and the planet moves into sparser outer regions of the galaxy, where the stars are fewer and farther between. The Milky Way itself is slowly turning, taking about 230 million years to complete a single rotation. Yet this one planet simply continues forward, unhurried, carried along as if resting on a vast, invisible river. Some may pass near loose gatherings of young suns. Another may glide past a dense cluster of aging stars, where red giants swell and shed their outer layers into space. A few may even thread the outskirts of star systems like our own, brushing thieves of comet clouds, before moving on again into deeper darkness. In that sense, these worlds are like patient time travelers, witnessing many chapters of galactic history without ever needing to hurry. Stars are born, shine, and fade. Entire regions of the galaxy brighten with new light and then grow quiet again. Galaxies themselves slowly change shape, their spiral arms stretching and twisting over billions of years. Yet the rogue planet remains mostly the same, a solid, steady companion to the passing ages, turning slowly in the dark, its path set by the gentle pull of the galaxy as a whole. If you imagine standing on its frozen surface, you would see the sky itself change over eons, constellations warping and drifting as the planet moves from one neighborhood off space to another. Let your breathing slow as you picture that sky, not over a human lifetime, but over the lifetime of continents and oceans, of entire cycles of stars. Some of these mysterious worlds may even carry silent records of their travels. Layer by layer, ice could build up, dust could settle, rocks could form and crack in different ways as the planet passes through warmer regions, colder regions, and areas rich with cosmic rays. And just as you begin to drift towards sleep, there is more thought to hold gently. Somewhere in that deep, frozen archive, a few of these planets might be keeping a detailed memory of every environment they have ever passed through, waiting for someone someday to learn how to read it. That frozen archive we imagined, layer up and layer of ice remembering a planet's long journey, leads gently to another thought. What if, deep below those ancient records, the story is not only written in ice, but in water that is still moving, still quietly alive with possibility? At first, a rogue planet wrapped in ice and drifting through darkness sounds completely frozen through. Yet warmth does not only arrive as light from nearby stars. Inside many planets, slow radioactivity, leftover heat from their birth, and the steady squeeze off gravity can keep interiors warm for immense stretches of time, even while the surface lies in endless night. If a thick shell of ice forms on such a world, that shell can act as a blanket, sealing in the inner heat. Pressure from all that ice above can help water remain liquid, even when the surrounding space is colder than anything you will ever feel. In that sense, these worlds may hit entire oceans, not on their surfaces, but tucked safely beneath miles of frozen crust. We do not have to imagine this from nothing. In our own solar system, far from the comfortable warmth of the sun, moons like Europa and Enceladus quietly demonstrate that subsurface oceans are possible. Europa orbits Jupiter, its cracked white ice hiding a deep global sea. Enceladus circles Saturn, spraying gentle plumes of water and ice into space, hints of a warm ocean beneath its bright, reflective shell. These mysterious worlds are proof that liquid water can survive in the cold outskirts of a planetary system, warmed from within rather than from above. If small icy moons can do this while still bound to their stars, why could not some rogue planets, larger and better insulated, carry the same secret in the darkness between the stars? Some of these planets may hold calm, stable oceans that have lasted for billions of years. Another may have a rocky seafloor rich in minerals, where water and stone quietly exchange chemicals. A few may even provide the gentle energy gradients that simple life prefers, the slow, patient kind of living that does not need sunlight at all. On Earth, far below the waves, there are deep-sea creatures that never see daylight, feeding on chemical energy rising from vents in the ocean floor. Life there is guided not by light, but by chemistry and warmth. A hidden ocean on a rogue planet could feel very much the same. Total darkness, no sunrise, no sunset, only the steady glow of inner heat. For now, all you need to do is imagine that black water, perfectly still on human timescales, yet slowly circulating over ages. Let your shoulders soften as you picture simple organisms drifting, feeding, dividing, unaware that a galaxy even exists above their ceiling of ice. Let your breathing slow while you consider entire ecosystems living and dying in the dark, never seeing stars, never knowing they wander through space at all, carrying their slow, patient histories beneath miles of frozen silence. Allow your mind to toastle into stillness with that image, because in a moment we will follow these worlds outward again and wonder what might happen if such hidden oceans briefly meet the light. Allow that image to linger for a moment, those quiet oceans hidden beneath ice, living their entire lives in darkness, never knowing the stars above. Now, if you like, imagine that you are one of those oceans, spread wide and deep under a thick protective shell, completely sheltered from every storm on the surface. Up above, winds may wander and frozen plains may shift, but down where you are, the water is calm and heavy and still. No waves, no sudden changes, only a slow, gentle pressure holding everything in place. In that sense, you are safe beneath the noise of the world, cradled the way these worlds are cradled by their ice. For now, all you need to do is let your shoulders soften, as if they are sinking through that frozen crust and drifting down into the warm, dark sea below. Any thoughts that arrive can be like tiny grains of silt in the water. You notice them, and then you let them fall, slowly, lazily, until they settle on the distant seafloor and leave the water clear again. Let your breathing slow. Breathe in gently through your nose, feeling the air move like a soft current through an underground cavern. Hold it for a quiet count of 3, and then breathe out, long and easy, as though you are sending a faint wave across the surface of that hidden ocean. We will doth that again together. In 2, 3, and out, 2, 3, 4. As you breathe, you might picture faint, ghostly light from distant galaxies filtering through miles of ice, so weak it never quite reaches you, yet still hinting that the wider universe is out there. Yet down here, there is no need to respond, no need to move toward that light. You can simply float in the dark, like a rogue planet between stars, peaceful and unhurried. If a little tension remains in your jaw, your neck, your hands, imagine a warm current rising from deep within this buried sea. With each breath out, it moves upward, gently thinning the ice, melting rigid layers of worry and effort. Bit by bit, that hardness softens into liquid, and that liquid becomes warmth, and that warmth becomes rest. Allow your mind to settle into stillness as you sink even deeper, below thought, below effort, into the quiet bedrock off your own awareness. Some thoughts may still wander past. Another may briefly glow like a passing comet. A few may try to return, but they can all drift on, leaving you untouched. In the old picture, space was an empty void. Yet we now know it can hold secret oceans on distant planets, and secret calm within you as well. As you lie there, resting like a hidden sea, we will let our story sink to, moving from the bright, early chapters of the cosmos into the slower, quieter parts of the universe's tale, where even more gentle mysteries wait in the dark. From those hidden seas, we can drift our attention outward again, to visitors that link the warm inner regions of a system with the deep, silent dark beyond. Comets are like messengers from the edge, spending almost all of their long lives far from any bright light, where the sun is only a pale, distant star, and the cold is steady and profound. Most of the time, these worlds move so slowly that nothing seems to change at all. They wander through the outer reaches of the solar system, in a realm where orbits stretch for light years and space is filled with only a thin breath of dust and distant starlight. Out there, a comet can drift for millions of years, frozen and quiet, a small archive of the early solar system waiting in the darkness. Then, very occasionally, something nudges them. A passing star may glide by on the scale of the galaxy, or a rogue planet may drift close to a distant cloud of icy bodies and gently disturb their paths. In that sense, a comet's journey inward often begins with the faintest suggestion of change, a tiny shift in gravity that, over vast distances, slowly bends its course toward the sun. As the comet falls inward, its path becomes a long, stretched-out oval, with one end brushing Thaner system and the other buried in the outer dark. For ages, it has been almost invisible. Yet, as it approaches the sun, sunlight begins to touch its icy surface, and the solid, frozen shell starts to release gas and dust. What was once a dim, silent object grows a soft, glowing tail that can span millions of kilometers, pointing away from the sun like a luminous breath. From our point of view, that tail appears suddenly, shines for a brief season, and then fades again. Some comets return every few decades, like familiar guests we can learn to expect. Others take thousands or even millions of years to complete a single loop, so that no human eyes will ever see the same Passagetwis. Their bright moment in our sky is only a tiny heartbeat in a cycle that stretches across geological time. When you think about these long, patient orbits, space begins to feel like a place off cycles and returns rather than sudden events. Even the quick flash of a comet over a dark horizon is part of a much larger rhythm, a slow inhale and exhale of icy bodies between the inner warmth and the outer cold. For now, all you need to do is let your shoulders soften and let your breathing slow as you picture those vast ellipses, gently looping through the dark. Allow your mind to settle into stillness with the thought that comets are only one kind of visitor. If small icy bodies can fall inward from the edges, what about entire planets? Some rogue worlds may pass quietly through the outskirts of other systems, slipping by their stars as unnoticed guests before drifting back into the galaxy's darkness, and their stories are even stranger. Some of those unnoticed guests do not stay entirely outside. Now and then, a rogue planet's long, slow path through the galaxy may carry it close to a distant star system, just skimming the outermost regions where only thin clouds off comets and dust usually wander. You can picture it as a dark ship passing along a quiet coastline at night. The sea is calm, the shore is far away, and there are only a few scattered lights. In that sense, the star is the faint glow on the horizon, and the rogue planet moves by in almost perfect darkness, guided only by gravity and the gentle pull of the Milky Way's mass. Most of the time, nothing dramatic announces its presence. Unless the alignment is exactly right, the planet's faint warmth and invisible outline will not cross our telescopes. And its gravity will not tug in a way we can't easily see. It will simply pass, like a shadow on a shadow, leaving the central star and its inner planets completely unaware that a wandering world has drifted by on the edge of their space. Yet even a quiet passerby can leave a trace. Far from the central light, where cold comets circle slowly, the soft pull of a rogue planet can nudge an orbit by a tiny amount. Some may gently disturb the paths of icy bodies in a distant cloud. Another may shift the motion of an outer planet by a fraction, so that over millions of years the difference slowly builds. A few may send a handful of comets inward, starting journeys that only reach the inner system long after the visitor has vanished back into the dark. These effects are so small that we usually notice them, if at all, only through careful patterns in the motions of other objects. We read them the way you might read ripples on a Lake Tagus that a boat passed by long ago. For now, all you need to do is imagine astronomers studying tiny changes in orbits and brightness, trying to decide whether some unseen planet once moved through that region, leaving only faint fingerprints in the dance of lesser worlds. Allow your mind to toastle into stillness with this idea of a universe where most events are quiet. Gravity works patiently, in silence, and many of the most interesting encounters happen far from any light, unrecorded except in the slow rearranging of orbits. Let your breathing slow as you think about how many such near misses might have already brushed past our own solar system, out where the comets sleep. Let your shoulders soften as you picture unknown planets drifting by, just beyond our reach, never noticed, never named. How many of these mysterious worlds have sailed past the sun at a distance, and how many more are still on their way, already falling toward our region of the galaxy, carrying stories we have not yet learned to hear? As those distant travelers pass us by, we are going to let this journey slow down with them and grow softer. From this point on, the story will move more gently, with fewer new ideas and more quiet circling back to the images you already know. The wide, silent ocean of space, the drifting rogue planets, the hidden oceans sealed beneath ice. We will visit them again and again until they begin to blur into one calm picture. Yaukin imagines space as a dark, endless sea around the galaxy, not empty but hushed. In that sense, every star is like a distant lighthouse, and between those lights, whole planets wander with no sound at all. Erog planet travels through almost perfect darkness, lit only by faraway stars and faint galaxies, like soft reflections on black water. Nothing hurries there. Everything moves, but so slowly that it feels almost still. Some of these worlds may still glow faintly with leftover warmth inside, like embers carried through the night. Some may be cold to the surface, yet keep deep. Oceans under ice, protected by pressure and quiet heat. A few may hide entire seas beneath frozen crusts, like the secret lakes under the ice of Antarctica, only stretched to planetary size. For now, all you need to do is let these worlds drift through your thoughts without trying to hold on to any one of them. Let your shoulders soften. Let your breathing slow. Allow your mind to settle into stillness, as if you were resting on a small, safe ship, floating in that great dark ocean between the stars. Details do not matter now. Names, numbers, exact distances can fade into the background. What stays is the feeling of vastness and the sense that everything has time. You might see one lonely planet passing a glowing nebula, its surface lit for a moment in gentle color, then slipping back into darkness. Another may glide through thin clouds of gas and dust, leaving almost no trace. A few may circle the galaxy again and again, taking hundreds of millions of years for a single slow loop. Can you feel how patient that is? How quiet? As you listen, it is all right if the pictures in your mind begin to blur together, like watercolors spreading on paper. Rogue planets, hidden oceans, the Milky Way turning, our own small world tucked safely near its star, all becoming one soft, continuous scene. In the next part, we will keep following this calm tide, and each new fact will arrive like a smaller, quieter wave than the one before, until very gently they almost stop altogether. And so, as those scenes begin to blur, we can return to one of them and let it come back into focus, very slowly. Imagine that once again you are standing on the surface of a rogue planet, a world that wanders through space without any star to circle, held only by the broad, patient gravity of the galaxy. Here, there is no sunrise waiting just beyond the horizon. There is no schedule written in gold across the sky, no promise that the darkness will thin into morning or deepen into evening. Thesky simply is, a deep, velvety backdrop, scattered with stars that never quite leave, never quite arrive, but remain as steady companions while this quiet planet turns. You can look up and see them as a slow river of light, each point so distant that it hardly changes, yet together they drift, virulently, from one side of the sky to the other. Some may be bright blue suns, blazing close in their own systems. Another may be a red star nearing the end of its life. A few may be entire galaxies, tiny smudges whose light has crossed millions of years of space to reach your eyes on this lonely world. There are no harsh shadows here, because there is no single glaring light to carve them. Every stone, every ridge, every curve of ground is lit only by the soft glow of distant stars and galaxies, a faint, even shimmer that leaves nothing overexposed and nothing in sharp outline. That darkness is not empty. It is simply calm, filled with patient light too gentle to shout. For now, all you need to do is imagine lowering yourself onto that ground, feeling it firm and cool beneath your back. Let your shoulders soften as they sink into the surface of this planet, as if the whole world is quietly agreeing to hold your weight. Above you, the sky stretches in every direction, with no roof, no ceiling, no artificial glow, only the slow, continuous turning of stars. Let your breathing slow until it feels like another orbiting motion, rising and falling as this planet rotates through the dark. Some stars drift toward the horizon while others climb, and you do not have to follow them or measure them or name them. You can simply watch or close your eyes and trust that they are still there, keeping their silent watch while you rest. In that sense, this rogue planet becomes a mirror of your own night. Your bed can be that quiet patch of ground, your blanket the warm, protective surface of a world adrift, your ceiling the invisible sky beyond the roof. As we move on to the next gentle facts, you can allow your mind to settle into stillness and let this room turn into a small, star-watched place where nothing is required of you now but sleep. So, as this room becomes that small, star-watched place, we can add one more gentle layer to it. In your mind's eye, choose a single star, as simple and quiet as a pinprick of light in a deep, dark sky. Let it hang there above you. Not a famous star, not one you have to name or understand, just a tiny point in space, very far away. Forno, all you need to do is imagine that this star is breathing with you, brightening slowly when you inhale and softening, dimming a little when you exhale. Take a slow breath in through your nose, and as you do, let that star grow just a little clearer as if its light is gently gathering. Hold it for a heartbeat, and then breathe out and see the star's glow ease back, not disappearing, just relaxing with you. Again, breathe in, let your breathing slow, and watch the light quietly swell. Breathe out and let it fade to a calm, steady ember in the darkness. We will follow this star for a few cycles. In 2, 3, and out 2, 3, 4. Each inhale, the light grows a shade brighter. Each exhale, it settles back into peace. Some breaths may feel deeper, another may be shallow, a few may wander away from the count. That is completely fine. The star simply continues its patient rhythm, like so many stars in our galaxy, unchanged by small variations, content to shine at its own pace. As you breathe with it, let your shoulders soften and notice how your body responds to each exhale. Imagine that with every breath out, gravity very gently increases, not heavy or uncomfortable, just a subtle, reassuring pull. Your back sinks a little more into the mattress. Your arms and legs become pleasantly weighty, as if this bed were the surface of a quiet planet, holding you in place while the stars drift overhead. With each dimming of that imagined star, let another set-off muscles loosen. Around your eyes, along your jaw, across your chest and down through your hands. In that sense, you become like these worlds we have been visiting in our thoughts, resting in darkness, supported by invisible forces, moving slowly, needing nothing from the bright, busy spaces where worries live. If your attention drifts away from the star or from my words, there is no problem at all. It is perfectly fine if you miss the next facts or even the end of this video altogether. Sleep is the goal here, not completion, and the universe will not mind if you doze through half its stories. In a moment, we will return to a few more quiet reflections on the hidden richness of space, on planets that wander between the stars, and on the soft glow of galaxies far beyond our own. You can let those final facts blur at the edges, becoming fragments of dreams if they need to. The star you chose can stay with you or fade away, and as we move on, you are welcome to keep breathing in time with the sky and simply settle deeper into rest. As you keep breathing in time with that quiet ski, we can widen the picture just a little more. For every shining point you could choose as a guide, there may be several planets you will never see, moving far from any light, making space far more planetary than it first appears. In the old picture, we imagined a few neat families of worlds gathered close around their stars, like islands clustered around a warm fire. Yet as we have watched more carefully, a different scene has come into view, a galaxy where planets are not rare ornaments but the standard way that matter settles down, cools, and becomes something solid. Some belong to bright systems with many companions. Some wander alone as rogues between the stars. A few may drift at the very edge of the galaxy, turning slowly in a darkness that almost never changes. Think again of those rogue planets, the mysterious worlds that travel through almost perfect night, lit only by the faint glow of distant galaxies. They are joined by distant icy bodies far beyond the outer planets we name, tiny and large objects circling in cold, wide paths that take hundreds of years to complete. Hidden moons add to this quiet crowd, small companions rapid in shadow, orbiting gas giants or icy giants, their surfaces never lit strongly enough to be noticed from far away. Together, these worlds form an unseen population that may outnumber the stars themselves. Some may be frozen spheres of rock and ice. Another may hold a buried ocean warmed gently from within. A few may still glow very faintly with leftover heat from their birth, like soft embers floating through space. Most will never be visited. Most will never even be detected. Yet they are there, complete in themselves, following their paths with no need to be observed. For now, all you need to do is let your shoulders soften and imagine that quiet abundance. Between every pair of stars, there could be lonely planets wandering, small icy bodies drifting in slow arcs, and moons turning endlessly around unseen giants. In that sense, the empty dark between the constellations is not empty at all, but filled with stories that do not need an audience to be real. If you allow your mind to settle into stillness, you might picture these countless lives of rock and ice unfolding in deep time, far beyond any human schedule. What does it feel like to exist without ever being seen, to simply be a world in the dark. As we move into the final stretch, we will turn that question gently inward, toward another hidden universe that only you can explore. 101:33, gentle recap. 100 quiet steps away from worry 2:41. In that sense, those questions about unseen worlds were never really about getting an answer. They were gentle doors, and together we have-walked through 100 of them, one by one, until the room of your day has grown quiet and far away. We wandered with rogue planets first, those worlds that drift through space without any Stardo circle, moving through almost perfect darkness with only the faint dusting of distant galaxies for company. Some may keep a soft inner warmth, like embers hidden beneath ash, and some may be nothing more than cold, patient rock. Yet each one became a step, a small, unhurried pace away from your own concerns. We visited the silence between the stars, that calm ocean where there is no air to carry sound and everything moves in deep, unbroken quiet. We touched on thin clouds, afgas, and dust, on light that travels for billions of years across the galaxy at a steady pace. None of these was ever a test. Each image was simply another breath, another chance to let your breathing slow and feel the day loosen its hold. We paused with hidden oceans, buried under ice on distant moons, and maybe even sealed inside wandering planets, where water could stay liquid in the dark. Some may lie beneath frozen crusts, some beneath thick blankets of cloud, and a few may never feel a sunrise at all. These mysterious worlds were not facts to store away. They were soft places for your thoughts to rest. We drifted outward to slow galactic dances, to the Milky Way taking hundreds of millions of years to turn once, to other galaxies gliding past in motions so patient they might as well be still. For every detail, there was the same quiet message beneath it. For now, all you need to do is listen and float. Rogue planets, quiet nebulae, dim red stars, bright blue stars, thin dust, with emptiness, hidden seas, frozen continents, glowing clouds, the soft background glow of the cosmos itself. You do not have to remember the order or the numbers or the names. You have already taken the only journey that matters by letting your shoulders soften and allowing your mind to settle into stillness for a while. If the specific facts are already blurring, that is perfectly right. They were meant to blur, to become a low, distant hum while you rest here on your small, safe world. As we move into these last moments together, you can let the remaining words pass like faint starlight at the edge of your awareness, and simply drift and drift and drift towards sleep. 104:14. Sixth relaxation pause. Letting the universe hold your thoughts 3:01. So as those last words drift away, you can imagine that your thoughts are doing the same thing, slowly loosening and wandering off into the dark, gentle ocean of space around you. They do not have to stay crowded inside your head. They can become part of the quiet sky for a while. Picture each thought as a small, glowing speck, like a tiny satellite or a little wandering planet, softly orbiting around your mind. Some may be bright and busy, circling quickly. Another may be dim and slow, just tracing a wide path at the edge. A few may feel heavy, like dense worlds with their own gravity, tugging at your attention again and again. For now, all you need to do is watch them. You do not have to fix them or follow them. Let your breathing slow, and simply notice these worlds of thought drifting in their little tracks, moving in silence the way rogue planets wander through the galaxy, guided by an invisible pull. Then, very gently, imagine that gravity relaxing. Each glowing speck begins to drift outward, a little farther from the center of your mind. With every slow breath, they move away, like tiny lanterns released into the darkness between the stars. Some may pause for a moment, as if asking to stay. Yet as you breathe out, they, too, begin to glide into the wider space. You might see them scattering among distant constellations, slipping past quiet nebulae and soft bands of starlight, until they are no longer pressing on you at all. They are still there, but they are far away now, resting among the stars, no longer heavy, no longer urgent. If there is one thought that feels important, you can place it carefully on a calm, dark planet in your imagination, a world that glows faintly with its own inner light. You set it down on that surface, safe and waiting. The universe will hold it for you. You can always come back to it later. In that sense, nothing is lost. It has simply been set at a kind distance. Allow your mind to settle into stillness as the inner sky clears. Inside, there is more and more open space, like a clear night with only a few soft clouds of feeling or memory passing slowly. They appear, they drift, and they fade again into the background glow. And as the universe holds your thoughts, your bed holds you. Your room is its own small, sheltered corner of the cosmos, walls like gentle horizons, blankets like a quiet atmosphere wrapped around your body. Let your shoulders soften into that support. You are as safe here as any planet in its orbit. In a moment, we will return to a few last, quiet facts, but you can let them arrive the way faint galaxies appear at the edge of vision, distant and soft, while you continue to float, held by your own small piece-off space. 107. 15. Human perspective. Our small, quiet corner of the cosmos, 309, and while you are held here in your own small orbit of pillows and blankets, it can be calming to remember where thy's safety actually lives in the wider universe. Our planet is a tiny, warm island in a vast, cold sea off space, a blue and white world drifting through the galaxy, wrapped in air and water and gentle light. Most of the cosmos is darkness and distance. Between the stars, there are stretches so empty thought a lone rogue planet could wander for millions of years without ever passing close to another world. Yet here, on this one small sphere, oceans move, trees breathe, and you are listening in a quiet room on the only place we are currently sure that life exists. In that sense, Earth is a rare kind off-harbor. Above you, the galaxy turns with almost unthinkable patience. It takes about 230 million years for our solar system to circle the Milky Way once, a single slow rotation in a lifetime of stars. Down here, seconds pass, your chest rises and falls, and whole generations have spent their brief moment tending this island, building homes, planting gardens, learning how to keep one another warm and fed. Some may look up and feel small before that scale. Another may feel lost in the mystery of so many worlds and so few answers. A few may wonder if we need to understand every